Hi, I'm Felipa, and this is day 49 of my year-long reading plan to complete this Bible. So today I am on the book of Judges, and we see Israel's battles in Canaan, and basically we see a pattern of Israel failing to conquer Canaan and other nations, and these inhabitants essentially living with the people of Israel. And we remember from back a few pages ago, God had said, you will have these inhabitants live with you if you do not drive them out, and they will be thorns in your eyes. You will struggle with them. So this is already kind of giving a glimpse into the fact that, before this part, God was helping Israel beat all its enemies and strike them down and completely obliterate every sort of city and every sort of person in their way. And now we're seeing that not happening. And so it's almost that notion that the faith in God is wavering, because it's not the people of Israel not conquering their nations like they had with Joshua and with Moses and so on. And we have an angel who comes down in the name of the Lord, who rebukes the people in chapter 2, verse 2, and says, "And ye shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. Ye shall throw down their altars, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this?" Verse 3, "Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you." Essentially, you're going to have these people who are going to create a lot of trouble for you, make your life not very good, prevent you from having a good relationship with God and benefiting from all of God's gifts and commandments and everything he meant to give to you as the inhabitants of this land. And then chapter 2, continuing the wickedness of the new generation after Joshua, just another kind of reminder or an overview of all of the sins that the people of Israel ended up committing after Joshua. Basically sons and daughters marrying into the families of these inhabitants that are not the generations or the nations of under the Lord. They're not the people of Israel. Hearkening on to these fake gods and praying to altars and things like that. In verse 17, we see it says, "But they went a whoring after other gods and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in." I like that verse. It says they walked out of the way in which their fathers had walked in. So something that was established and true and provided them the good land, they did like the very opposite of that. And then we basically end on chapters 2 and 3. And it says in chapter 2, verse 23, "Therefore the Lord left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua." So saying all of these inhabitants that are this thorn in your side, I'm actually not even going to drive them out. And if anything, I'm not even going to drive them into the hands of Joshua or anybody who wants to take them down, because you're not giving me a reason to. And then chapter 3 confirms this, because it says, "Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan." So basically saying, I'm going to actually leave these nations and all these problems to you and all these inhabitants, because you've lost your faith, you've lost your way of following in God's path, you've lost your sense of these commandments and upkeeping the promise that you made to me. And so I'm actually going to leave these people and leave these nations, and you're going to have to struggle through with them. And they will now be a test to you to see how much you actually believe in God, how much you are actually a loyal and a faithful observant of God's commandments. So that is it for day 49. Tomorrow I continue on to chapter 3, and Othniel delivers Israel. And I will let you know how that chapter goes. So stay tuned.